For just a few stories that you've been telling us, you have an amazing foresight. You have an ability to see the way things are trending, the way things are going, and you navigate accordingly. That pivot foot is the Vlad pivot foot is nasty. You know what I'm saying? But where does that come from? You're not born with a business mindset, you know?
You think ahead a decade. Since I was a kid, I was thinking ahead a decade. I planned on being here for a long time on this earth. I plan on living, to 100 if possible. So that doesn't just happen on accident. You have to plan for that to actually occur. Right. So, in my teens, I was planning for my 20s, which meant that, okay, I got to get certain types of grades. I have to take the school shit seriously. I have to get into a top university, which I did. And then, you get into the university and you got to pick, all right, are you going to be an American history major with a questionable, employment track, or are you going to learn something that is actually important, that is going to be useful, like computers? And then you start your business, you realize, okay, this is where, my 20s I'm planning for my 30s, okay, at the end of my 20s, I'm like, all right, like I'm going to do the music shit. I have to do it now because, like I said earlier in the interview. And in my 30s, like, listen, I could be a DJ right now if I was like, because I love DJing.
Sick.
You know what I'm saying? I
can tell you still talk about music.
Like I love rocking shows. I love having Billboard, DJ Vlad and Bahrain, a huge billboard of my name, and doing the shows and the girls and everything else like that, and going country to country and that, like, that's dope. But like, it wasn't a serious career track. So you're thinking, what are you going to do next? Yeah. And a lot of it is trial and error. Like I'm 50 right now. I've been financially planning for my 50s. In my 40s, I've been investing. I've been taking the money, the profits I make, from Vlad TV and investing them in the stock market, and, maxing out my 401k and doing things that would get me financially set up for the rest of my life, because at some point I may want to stop working.
Right.
Or at one point I just may not want to do what's necessary to keep a company of this size running.
The pace.
I may just want to just do an interview a month or do an interview every few months. Maybe I'll be Young Miami, do 4 interviews a year at one point.
A residency in Abu Dhabi or something.
Yeah, something. So it's the 4. So because I'm going to hit my 60s at one point.
Yeah.
Right. And
what if those are your best interviews?
What do you mean?
60s. When you reach that,
maybe
it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. It's we just did Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
This year was an interesting year because I think because the algorithm is a little bit different in YouTube and the economy definitely took a hit. Like it wasn't the most profitable year that we've had, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's part of the Kennedy clan. Presidential candidate, Leo Cohen, probably the most powerful human being in music right now, the head of YouTube Music Global.
The guy.
Global, the head of the biggest music platform on earth. Dominique Wilkins, all-star, got a statue of him in Atlanta. Dennis Rodman, Hall of Famer.
Oh, this year? Okay.
This year. Alan Dershowitz, one of the most famous lawyers of all time. I just did Evander Holyfield a couple of days ago. That's not out yet.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're not
big legends.
Like important. Not all these are huge interviews, but these are important figures.
Yeah, they're historical interviews.
Historical, important figures. I know I'm missing some as well. Like I make lists of this sometimes just to kind of keep it in perspective for me. But there's been a lot. As well as, like, for example, like the Lance on Rivera story, the first time he talked about the Jay-Z stabbing incident. Like, important moments, man. Important moments. Sure. Yeah, I did Vanilla Ice earlier today, and and people might discount it, but Vanilla Ice sold like 500 million records worldwide. Still sells like 3 or 4 million to this day. the first artist to have the #1 rap single in the history of the world.
People hate that stat.
People want to hate it all they want. Who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars now, who has a massive real estate empire, took us to go see his car collection in one of his garages. This car's $3 million. This car's $2 million. Yeah. This was Dean Martin's car. Like, I got the paperwork for it. Here's I'm like, is that a Model T Ford? Oh, no, that's a Model something else. This is like the luxury version of the Model T.
It's
like
the Coca-Cola version.
God
like, how
damn.
the fuck did you get that?
Yeah. It's like, yo,
crazy.
We did some shit this year. I could sit back and say
the Boosie Estates.
Boosie Estates, I thought that was one of my favorites to do.
I can't believe I saw you dunk the ball though. Is the rim lower?
I didn't dunk it. I touched the rim.
Oh, okay, yeah, you touched the rim.
Because Boosie said I couldn't do it.
Was the rim lower?
The rim was not lower.
Oh,
it was a regulation rim.
That's awesome.
It's a regulation rim. Yo, at 50, what?
Let's go. Yeah.
Talk that shit.
Yeah. Nah, like dope shit. You know, LeVar Ball getting his story and his whole house tour, like some inspirational shit. That I could really say, like, I'm proud of putting together and showing, okay, this is not like one of the princes from the royal family in Dubai showing you all the shit that his dad bought him. This is people that came from the bottom, right? Just like myself, I'm an immigrant, came over with nothing, lived in the projects in Springfield, Massachusetts. Family slowly built our way up. I didn't have an inheritance or anything else like that. Like, I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to say I didn't live in the projects, but we lived, you know, like growing up. But at one point I did live in the projects. So watching all these people tell their story and show legitimately, you know, because MTV Cribs, a lot of that shit was fake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The Redman one was a big letdown. That was a big letdown.
That was like the real one, though, honestly.
No,
that's probably the real one.
Okay.
Because he
that was
said
a troll.
they did the follow-up. They said he still got the crib.
Still got the crib.
Okay.
He still rents it out.
Yeah. Nah, but like, we actually, you know, are getting, you know, real people's houses and showing how, yo, like, these people really got it from the mud. And someone's watching this going, yeah, I could do this too.
Shit, I watched it. It was like I could.
I could do this too.
That's why I never understood the whole Culture Vulture talk, because there's even people in the comments talking that shit. But it's like, who else is going to show Boosie City? Right?
Yeah, Boosie City, right?
Yeah, who else is going to do that? Like, you're actually doing more for the culture, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I personally think that the Culture Vulture terminology is shut the fuck up already. It's over.
I mean, look. It's interesting seeing how other people's the reaction people I get. Oh, sorry, it's interesting when I interview certain people. It's interesting to see the comments that they get. So, like, hearing all these people call Leo Cohen a culture vulture was like, okay,
He gets it bad. Yeah.
if he's a culture vulture, like the amount of, I mean, he essentially ran Def Jam when Russell Simmons decided to go do fashion. He became the first. Leo Cohen is another. Yeah, I didn't mention. Okay, my bad. Yeah, so, you know, he was the first when Def Jam merged with like Polygram and all that. He became the first hip hop president of a major label ever in time. You know, ever.
Right. Carrying the
And
flag.
then went on to become the president and chairman of the Warner Music Group. You know.
Warner.
And then started 300 from his living room for it to be sold for $400 million, not as a favor, but because of the strength of the artists, the Young Thugs and the Little Durks and the Fetty Waps and what they pulled off, breaking incredible new artists.
Huge.
And then becoming the head of YouTube. So if he's a culture vulture, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That actually makes it a cool thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The terminology is just
Steve
people
Rifkin.
like using
Steve
certain
Rifkin
shit.
gets called a culture vulture. Eminem gets called a culture vulture. Everyone gets called a culture vulture. You know, to me, it's another word.
As soon as you get into the media, as soon as you start getting to the bag, is when you're a culture vulture.
I mean, I'm sure they're out there. Let's not pretend. There's some, I'm sure.
For sure.
Somewhere along the line.
Who's an actual culture vulture?
I don't know them personally.
See what I'm
man.
saying?
You know, let me not lie to you, but
Bad
you know,
Bobby.
you know who gets it bad, and I've never met the guy. I think he was on your show. 1090 Jake gets it bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody white?
Yeah. I was
Typically,
I
yeah.
was gonna go with it.
So to me,
that's the problem.
I mean, when I hear that, I just think that's the 2023 version of honky. Just call me a honky. That's what it is, or or a cracker, or whatever derogatory term for a white person you want to use, and that's cool, and I get it. And but if you're gonna call me that,
Stand on that.
well, see, so how much did you do? Not how much did you do, but how much are you doing for the culture? What are you doing right now that's impacting the culture? If you're impacting the culture way more than I am, then I might listen to that criticism, and see what you have to do. But if you did some shit 20 years ago, or if you're just having done nothing, you're just a fan, and you were just born looking a certain type of way, feeling like you're
just
part of
typing
it.
comments on YouTube.
Yeah. Then it's like, it's cool.
We spoke about this yesterday. There is 0 successful people in the world have ever jumped on into the YouTube comment section to talk shit. You know what I mean? Like, to talk shit. Like, if you're showing support and stuff, that's normal. That's thank you. We appreciate that. If somebody really is going on there to talk shit, you got to think about what's going through your fucking mind. Like, what do you wake up and think, like, yo, I can't wait to get on YouTube today. Let this motherfucker have it. You know what I mean? Like,
caps.
Yeah. You're an interesting individual. If that's what you do, hey. But to each their own. We need them too.
It's intention. They're trying to start a conversation. They want to argue with people. And,
I know. That's why I said 0 successful.
Yeah, it's just
you know where they belong. You once said that you would pay $1 million to do an interview with OJ. And now he's all over the place, and he's on with,
Twitter World.
It Is What It Is podcast.
Well, okay, so I did say that,